Hello, I am a game developer who hasn't completed a single game till now. Every time it's a new prototype, and even if you open my itch.io, the game listed there are just prototype with pretty graphics, duct taped together with broken mechanics. So, why am I telling you this? Good question, which you shouldn't have asked because now this rant is going to continue for 15 minutes and you have to sit and watch. I wanted to make a clicker idle game, but not one with only UI stuff rather than an actual 3D game where you can interact with world type of thing. However, there was only one issue. I have no will to stick with it, and one more thing, I have a full-time job. So I started prototyping this idea where there is a big drill, and when you click it, it spawns some amount of mineral, and bang, we had an idea. Not for a game, but for wasting my weekends. It didn't take long for me to realize that I couldn't make a game out of it, so I pivoted to a different idea where there is a big rock in the middle, like you, and you have to click it, and it's small rocks like your D. Now we had a game. Then very quickly I built an AI system. It was just a simple AI where when a task is created, the agent goes, picks up the item and store it in the storage room. And to be honest, it was easy to make, and it really didn't make me even break a sweat, and actually didn't take 1 week to figure out the task system even after following the full playlist tutorial with ChatGPT on the side. After the task system, the game started to look like a game. But here's the issue. I was taking my time like I was making an MVP or a demo of the game. However, this was just a prototype and I realized it a bit too late. I know that phrasing was weird, but what I mean is I should have focused on completing the core loop instead of building complex system that made me believe the game was fun when it wasn't. Still, instead of working on making the game fun, I started making some city function like queue system, which also took me more than 3 days, and I was still not able to figure it out. So in the end I had to cancel the system entirely. After that I made another building that let you convert rocks into bars and sack, and then I started figuring out how to actually connect with sack was spawning with which rock was going in, which indeed cost me another weekend. Meanwhile, on most of my work days, I was unable to do anything else apart from my job. I know it's called being lazy, however, I call it avoiding work. After debating with myself for a while about whether this game was actually a game or just a useless simulation I was building without any end goal in mind, I realized that it was exactly the case. There was no end goal other than daydreaming about how this game was going to be a next Blood show. So I started duct taping the game together, which as you can guess didn't last very long. And that's also why I'm not using a gameplay footage in this video as background, because the game is so boring that it wouldn't even work as background footage. Yes, I'm jumping from different games to games, and not all games are mine, of course. I try to make it fun by designing a mechanic where clicking consumes energy and you have to refill your mouse cursor at an energy station. The minions also need energy after task, so they would go to the same station. But nah, even though it was in the game, I removed it later because the game started to feel even more boring. To be honest, I wanted to turn it into a crippling gambling addiction game where after a run is complete, the player puts money into a slot machine and based on the result, you get upgrades. But nah, I never even got past the point where I could start working on upgrades or adding extra content. The game is nowhere near a playable state and the loop hasn't even been completed yet. I added different types of rocks and stuff, but it didn't go as planned and I quit. Yes, the game is not completed and I am not planning to complete it because the game is bleeding. The technical depth I have accumulated in just a month of working on its way too much to actually fix anything. Now I can say one thing, I can pretty much make many things, however it's hard to do because I don't know what to make. Yeah, now I can say one thing, it's hard to do because I don't know what to make, and that's the CTS part. At the time of making this video, I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do going forward, and to be honest, I'm unable to do so. I'm unable to figure out what I'm going to do. Will this be the last video or am I going to make some prototype in the meantime? I don't know. because I do have an idea where I can mix an ideal game with the tower defense genre, but it's hard. So stick around for a bit. If you like the video, like the video and let YouTube gaslight itself into thinking this video is actually good. Subscribe to the channel for the next rant about failing another game, because I know I'm probably not going to finish that one. Bye.